afternoon, America, and welcome back to Talia Talk. I'm your host, Talia Fiero, and we're here today with some breaking news. Stay tuned. On this episode, I'll be covering the KT debate taking place at Lhasa High School. Experts on KT-based research from two different sides will be debating whether or not, first, an asteroid caused the extinction of dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Second, whether or not an asteroid like this could be a threat to Earth today. And third, if we should invest $10 billion into creating a defense system for an asteroid impact that could cause extinction. Right off the bat, I wanted to look into other causes of extinction of the dinosaurs, other than an asteroid impact. And who better to consult than Dr. Ashna Bensali, a biologist researching patterns of extinction. And today we're here with Ashna from the con side. Ashna, can you please state your position in this debate?
Yeah, so my research focuses on whether or not the asteroid impact theory was what caused extinction of dinosaurs, and I looked into multiple other theories that could have caused extinction.
Awesome. So other possibilities such as acid rain, intense weather, and volcanic eruptions have been disproved as justifications for extinction, leaving a lot of information left to support the impact theory, according to National Geographic. What evidence or other causes for extinction have you found that disprove the theory that asteroid impact pushed the dinosaurs to extinction?
Well, one of the causes could have been Deccan volcanism, and they found some cool boundaries in India which show that the Chicxulub impact crater actually predates the extinction of dinosaurs. So that's kind of a big deal.
So geologist James E. Fassett claims that data shows a relatively diverse assemblage of dinosaurs survived the end Cretaceous asteroid impact event of 65.5 million years ago. Have you found research that supports or denies this? And what is your opinion on the skepticism behind an impact actually causing extinction of the dinosaurs?
So my research was just on other theories that could have caused extinction, so I didn't really look into fossil evidence that they would have survived after the asteroid, but I do think that there's a possibility that they could have, because I don't think that a simple asteroid could have caused extinction, and that's due to the theory that I looked into.
Ashna, what are some of your hopes and expectations for the upcoming KT debate?
I hope that everyone can see the truth and realize that obviously an asteroid couldn't have caused every single dinosaur in the world to go extinct.
Thank you for joining us today, Ashna. Dr. Tate Shiono, a physicist researching impact severity, might be able to provide more information. Can you please state your position in the upcoming debate?
Yeah, so my debate, I'm on the pro side, and what we're doing is I'm going to explain the location of the KT impact and also some global effects and consequences that are connected to the impact.
So NASA states that the current asteroid catalog shows possibilities of the next large impact taking place in the next 100 years. What are the chances of this happening on an extinction level? And is it really worth it to spend time trying to prevent the impact if it's just not plausible to work?
I think it's important to understand that as the asteroids start to come in, especially we just heard over the news that on April 15th there was one that bypassed Earth, I don't know, many miles, but it's important to understand that some of these impacts will be coming by and very soon. So we have to be able to expect a planetary defense system in order to either take these asteroids out or at least try to stop them. I think that's very important.
Research states that it's likely that even extraterrestrial projectiles with the possibility of impacting Earth that are larger in diameter will most likely only produce a hazardous tsunami. What are your opinions on this?
So especially with the fact that the KT boundary has all these different sites that have evidence of things called tektites, which are glassy objects, and any type of rock that's geologic evidence, I think it's important that those are found because there's more than 350 sites of evidence there, and it's important that they're able to.
So what would you say would be the most important factor that would cause an extinction level event? Size of the asteroid, where it would hit?
I think it's definitely the location, because most of the KT boundary sites that have been researched have been North Atlantic, Caribbean, especially Haiti. Those are places where you can see many boundary sites, and researchers have definitely found rock evidence and geologic evidence of potential asteroid or comet impact origin. So I think it's important that the location, even though it's worldwide, we know that there are a lot of impacts across the world, I think it's important that we're able to identify those locations and then research them to compare to the other sites.
So would you say it would be more or less detrimental if it went in the ocean compared to a continent?
I mean, I think it's definitely more dangerous if it went on a continent, but again, there are different circumstances to whether it's in water, because there's definitely like different deposition and different environmental impacts. So yeah.
Awesome. So Tate, you can walk it through. So Tate, what are some of your hopes and expectations for the upcoming KT debate?
So I definitely want to explain that while there might not be definitely one central location of where the impact actually happened, like everyone knows that the impact happened like 65 million years ago, but that doesn't mean that there's like multiple KT boundary sites. It's just that most of them have different like evidence of what happened there. So I think it's important to understand that there are multiple sites, and then with that there's evidence of like, you know, tektites and spherules and whatever that can cause future environmental effects, so like natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes. So anything we know is good. It's just that we have to be prepared for it in the future.
Dr. Alex Burton researches asteroid impacts. I spoke with him about the likelihood of another asteroid impact causing an extinction level event. So with information found by modeling the atmospheric behavior of iron and stony bodies over the mass range of 1 to 1,000 kilograms, so size range around 6 centimeters to 1 kilometer, that takes into account the deceleration, albation, and fragmentation of around 200 meter diameter projectiles should strike the Earth. Oh, wait, no, it's okay, keep rolling. 200 meter diameter projectiles should strike the Earth's surface around every 100,000 years. What is your opinion on the probability of another impact like this taking place?
Well, that about 100,000 years is about consistent with the research that I found. But when you take into account like the astronomical like probability that like 100,000 years, a mean time of 100,000 years, like humans have existed for 6,000 years, which is not negligible compared to 100,000 years. But then you also have to take into account the fact that if the impact like occurs over the ocean, which has about like a 2/3 chance of occurring, then there's going to be virtually no impacts on like with people on land. And if it like explodes over Siberia, it might kill like 2 people, which is kind of unfortunate for them. But if you're spending $10 billion to save 2 people, that seems like kind of every 100,000 years, that seems like kind of a waste.
What would you say would be the most important factor that would cause an extinction level event? Like size of the asteroid, where it would hit?
So both of those can impact it. So like I said, if it impacts over the ocean, it's probably not going to have any major causes. It might cause some minor big waves to like approach the land, but that wouldn't cause an extinction in itself. So that's really important. But also the size of the asteroid does extremely like basically determines how much energy it has. And so a asteroid that has like I believe a diameter of, once you get over to like 10 kilometers, it starts becoming like possible for it to cause like not necessarily extinction level events, but at least significant, at least some impact. But if you look at the crater size for it, once you get if it creates a crater size of over about 100 kilometers, then you start seeing a potential for an extinction level event. But for instance, the KT impactor, which is about 180 kilometers, and while my part of the research is not about whether or not that caused an extinction, but it still definitely caused some things to die. So once you start getting to that 200 range, then you're probably gonna have some widespread extinctions.
So in your opinion, if there were to be another extinction level event, such as an extraterrestrial impact, would it be worth it or not to invest the resources to defend against this?
Well, okay, so if you had a high certainty of something like this happening, then of course it would, because you'd like saving people. But the thing is, there's just such an astronomically low probability of an extinction level event occurring. So just an example. So the impact 65 million years ago, whether or not that even caused an extinction is a debate. But but life still went through it. And I mean, in 65 million years is a long time. And if you analyze like cratering patterns, then you'd find that an extinction level event would occur about on average every about 100 to 150 million years, depending on whose research you read, which is a ridiculous amount of time given that humans have existed on Earth for about 6,000 years, which is it's just so astronomically low. It's really not worth investing money into.
So what would you say are some of your hopes and expectations for the upcoming KT debate?
Well, I mean, I just hope that everyone learns something new. Like I've been focusing on the statistics part of the debate, but I haven't really looking at the climate change, climate patterns and all that other stuff about the actual, or about specifically the KT extinction. I've been doing more general stuff, so I just hope I can learn about that. I'm hoping some people can learn about the statistics behind it, the impact or other impacts. So I hope it's a learning experience for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you for being here with us today, Alex. Stay tuned for an all-access interview with Jasmine Wilson for more information on Near-Earth Objects Defense System.
Wow, I just have too much money to count.
Have you ever had too much money? Is the unattainability of cash something you can't relate to? Then come on down to the Fieros. We'll take your money for free. The Fieros is not a real company, but cash donations will still be accepted, all rights reserved. And we're here with Jasmine from the pro side. Jasmine, can you please state your position in this upcoming debate?
I'm on the pro side and I'm defending the acts of defense.
2, 1, rolling.
So Jasmine, how long do you think it would take to come up with a solution?
Well, there's plans in place, lots of them. So it wouldn't take long to come up with a solution because we already have some. It would just, we have to find the asteroid first and then move on from there.
And do you think that creating this solution would generate more job opportunities?
Maybe. Not anything I've looked into, but it definitely could.
Awesome. So when coming up with a defense system, without being able to test it on if we're actually, when coming up with a defense system, without being able to test it until we're actually threatened with an extinction level event, how would you suggest we measure success?
Well, the people at NASA, from what I've read, have been doing tests on smaller asteroids to see if the things would work. Nothing I found have said how they would go about doing it when life-threatening things come into play, because it's all based on the characteristics of the asteroids, so they can't really plan anything until they know what they're up against.
So the defense system will be constantly improving or hitting a certain rubric?
It'd be constantly improving. They're just trying to make it fit the certain
And would you say this defense
criteria.
system and would you say this defense system would fully protect Earth from an extraterrestrial object with the potential to cause extinction, or just deter it?
The defense system I'm looking into is supposed to completely remove the risk of it, because they're constantly going to be on watch. It's not going to be a one-time thing,
So it would just be would you say it would be complete or just lessen the impact, most likely?
Complete.
Okay. So how long would you see this solution being viable?
I think as long as they need it to, until it's proven that it doesn't work.
Awesome. And Jasmine, what are some of your hopes and expectations for the upcoming KT debate?
Well, I hope we win, and I don't know, I just hope that everything goes as planned and we don't get totally bombed, but yeah.
All right, thank you for joining us today, Jasmine. Some of the plans for a system of defense that Jasmine was talking about involves creating sort of tugboat that would nudge the asteroid out of its path of intercept with the Earth over a period of 10 years. This plan is what Jasmine described to be the most safe and efficient, but it would take about 50 years to detect the asteroid and set the plan into motion. According to NASA, we can currently only detect threatening objects to Earth around 20 to 30 years in advance. There are other options, such as exploding something near the asteroid, fragmenting it. but large pieces would still hit Earth and cause severe damage. There's also what Jasmine referred to as Plan C, which would be to detect where the asteroid would hit 2 months in advance and evacuate people in the vicinity. I spoke with Dr. Andrew Gunawan next to learn more about the economic feasibility of creating a defense system. In 1975, the Apollo program's cost added up to around $30 billion, according to NASA. Taking into account our economy today, how would you justify $10 billion being enough to fund research and create a reliable defense system for another extraterrestrial impact?
Okay, well, the Apollo system required a lot more than just, basically the Apollo required human life to be in existence in space, whereas in this system we wouldn't need to be providing research on the human life aspect of it. So because we just need, there's a lot less research that goes into it, because a lot of the funds for the Apollo was research and testing, whereas this one wouldn't be research because a lot of the same technology is in our military defense missile because it has the same propulsion system. So a lot of it has already been tested. So the budget would just be towards the actual building mainly and towards the funding of like the fuel and stuff, where $10 billion would be plenty of money to be able to supply the necessary equipment and possibly some modification for the current propulsion.
So, what kind of economic impact and technology do you think could come out of searching for a solution to, judging by the resources that we have available with the money today?
I don't really think it'll impact our economy that much because currently our defense spending budget is over $500 billion, and it's more than 50% of our economical budget, and we're currently concentrating on international affairs of defense. So if we're able to think about internationally, I think that we can definitely think about the future of just the United States, since there is an impeding threat possible. So we would have to have at least something that would defend the whole entire world, and it would only cost $10 billion, which is, as far as military defense systems goes, pretty cheap. So I don't think it would really affect our economy because recently the U.S.'s economy has been going up a significant amount in the past couple, 10, 20, 30 years.
So, do you see investing our resources and money into creating a defense system like this being also beneficial for our economy, considering job opportunities?
I do believe so. Job opportunities are definitely a consideration because you will have a lot of this will, like from the 10 billion, will be labor because we do need the building of the rocket. We do need the building. Whereas in a research situation where it's expensive and research normally does not have as many people because it's more of the smarter people who really take their time to think about a lot of these ideas. Whereas the current defense plan system would only need manual labor to build it, and maybe a few chief engineers who would overlook the plan.
And lastly, Andrew, what are some of your hopes and expectations for the upcoming KT debate?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
What are some of your hopes and expectations for the upcoming KT debate?
I hope that, what I hope to get out of the KT debate.
Yes.
Okay. I hope that we are able to successfully prove or successfully persuade everybody in thinking that there is a possibility of a threat, and it's a lot higher than other people think. And it's definitely worth us 1 year spending $10 billion, which is not that much money in relation to the U.S.'s budget, in order to possibly save the whole entire globe, which I think is a lot more important than saving $10 billion. Because the $10 billion does not matter if none of us are here anymore.
Okay, thank you for joining us today, Andrew. Sort of. All right, guys, the KT debate is this week. We'll be back with coverage and more exclusive interviews with experts presenting in the debate, along with a guest appearance from Ethan Marks, senator in the upcoming KT debate.
Introducing the universal remote. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you wish you could go back in time?
Ah, damn, I forgot about the chemistry test.
or fast forward through your mom yelling at you. Come on down to non-existing store today to get your universal remote for only $10 billion.
What's up, Doc? Pause. Hey, you can pay for a national defense system with that money.
And we're back. Both sides had clearly come to play, and with the KT debate finally closed, the pro side took victory. I spoke with Dr. Tana McLean from the con side, who specializes in economic feasibility. Okay, so during the debate, you brought up information claiming that for $1,000, we could prevent one child dying from hunger for 5 years, which means that if we invested the full $10 billion, it would save around 10 million children. Right? Yes. Okay, so do you have evidence that the $10 billion would actually be able to go into other possible uses if not used for a defense system?
Well, so I don't have any evidence that it would go towards other uses. However, I do have evidence that the money would be cut from other places that support those sorts of programs. So let's say you were to cut from military spending, that most likely will not come from obviously salaries of those who work in the military, and that will not go towards cutting funding towards buying equipment, but rather cutting funding towards foreign aid, as well as Medicare, healthcare, social security programs, all of which affect people who are much more in need of those sorts of programs than those who are at the top end of financial status.
Your presentation said that there's a 1 in 714 chance an asteroid will hit Earth and cause extinction. Yet, one of the topics brought up was just how unstable those statistics are. If one small thing were to be off, it could change the asteroid's path, causing it to hit Earth. Considering this, what would you say about the statistics being easy to dismiss because of those facts?
Well, first off, that fact is just within the next 100 years. It's 1 in 714 chance. And that's a statistic given to us by NASA. Now, I think I wasn't completely aware of all the math that was going on within their NEO database, but the highest probability of any of those asteroids hitting the Earth was 0.05%. I don't think that there's a big enough effect on any of those NEOs that could cause it to go past a much greater percentile than what it's already at. Even the fact that it's considerably less than 1%. You can go.
Thank you for joining us today, Tana. I concluded my interviews with Dr. Emma Linder, who gave the closing statement for the con side. Some of the presenters on the pro side mentioned that during their presentations, an impact like this would be irreversible, and that with $10 billion not being much compared to NASA's around $18.4 billion defense budget as of 2011, how would you justify not spending the money in order to come up with a defense system?
So I think that the pro side was sort of vague about their defense system, and that we didn't really include any money for upkeep, because it is a very, that's what we were arguing, that it's a very rare event. And if we're going to blow $10 billion now to make a currently state-of-the-art machine to defend us from an asteroid, and then it sits there for 300 years, it's not going to be state-of-the-art, first of all, and it's not going to have lasted. And we're going to have to blow so much more money to keep it maintained. And I think we don't have the technology right now to make something that would make any sense to defend us from an asteroid. And the risk doesn't seem to be that prominent, especially when there are things like global warming and that are going to affect us in the near future, that I think blowing our money now on something that may not even be used.
One of the topics presented was just how iffy it would be, the statistics behind the fact that an asteroid probably wouldn't hit Earth. Like, if it's so dependable on different conditions, how can you justify that it wouldn't be a problem in the near future?
The pro side talked about how unreliable the calculations for what would impact an asteroid are, and I think we also don't have the technology to detect an asteroid 10 years out, and that the chances we detect it and that we know where it would go are really low.
With another asteroid hitting Earth being clearly the leading topic in this debate, do you feel any points from your side or the pro side were brushed over and not given enough detail?
Yeah, I think that that we really had a good argument, both Tana's argument of like spending and that there are better things we should be spending this money on, and that the probability is so undercalculated, and the effects of an asteroid, the calculations are so reliant on knowing the dust that's picked up when an asteroid hits, that a lot of the calculations the prototype were presenting wouldn't be possible, to calculate right for the KT extinction, because we don't know the amount of dust that's kicked up. So all of the declarations of like this would have a massive effect are really things we know because we don't know the specifics. And I think that they sort of brushed aside our analysis of probability and how unlikely it is that an asteroid will hit, and especially like the things we should be spending this money on, which sort of saddened me.
So, in your opinion, if there were to be an extinction level event that would happen, would it even be worth it to invest the resources to try and prevent it from hurting us?
We're already in an extinction level event, and I think that saying that an asteroid is a bigger risk than climate change, I think that our current extinction event is so much more pressing that I think we should, cross that bridge when we get there, because we're not there, and we're not at the point where this is an issue that is so much greater than other things that, I think even if it's an extinction level event, we're at sort of that point of it could be the straw that breaks the camel's back of because we have so many things going wrong that an asteroid could be that event that destroys us, but I think we should work on preventing it from being the straw that breaks the camel's back and make things better instead of focus on something that might not even be a risk.
Stay tuned after this ad for a guest appearance from one of the senators in the KT debate.
Introducing the Lhasa water fountains.
Damn, that's delicious.
Come to the White Hallway and get your water today.
And we're back. I interviewed Ethan Marks, a senator in the KT debate. So, what were some of the arguments presented that you found more convincing or that stood out to you?
Some of the things I found convincing were the ideas of the plans on how to defend against an asteroid. They seem like very solid plans of we know what we're doing, we know how we can use this funding very efficiently, and it really persuaded me to their side.
From the research you did preceding this debate, did you find yourself leaning towards one possible outcome more than the other?
I actually did, a little bit. I was more on the con side, that an asteroid wasn't the sole cause, that it was an asteroid plus all these other things. But, I don't know, I was definitely a little biased towards the con side. Our decisions were more about the people and the presentations, not just the information.
Do you feel like that the general population, hypothetically, of the world will be satisfied with the outcome of this debate?
Yeah, I think so. Because people are always scared of hypothetical things that may happen. Everyone likes to be safe. Better be safe than sorry. Be pretty satisfied. I'd say it was a good debate, but not everyone was happy.
Well, not everyone may be happy with the outcome of this debate. It's now guaranteed that we'll be investing the money in order to create a defense system. And with a strong argument made on the pro side on how another asteroid hitting Earth is a likely possibility, and with new technology and job opportunities that could come from this solution, I think we're all satisfied that the KT debate made some rock-solid results. I'm Talia Fierro, and thanks for watching Talia Talk.